2022 is already well behind us, but who were the male Seiyuu that stood out the most last year? Who were the Seiyuu that made sure to impress with outstanding performances in various 2D groups, and some even in their solo artist activities? It's time to check the 12 Seiyuu that impressed in 2022. Let's kick off this episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Welcome to Seiyuu Lounge. I am your host Vanessa, and today's topic is 12 male Seiyuu that impressed in 2022. This is a yearly feature that reflects my impressions of the various male Seiyuu active in the music industry. To create this episode, I have into consideration several things about the Seiyuu in question. How active they were in 2022, how much the Seiyuu improved as singers, their technique and voice tone, variety and the versatility of their music, quality of the music released, and performances outside of their solo careers. So this isn't just an episode about who I like the most. Basically, if you listen to this podcast, you may already have an idea about who I like. This is an episode about who impressed me the most, taking into account all those factors I just mentioned. This is a yearly feature, and if you're curious about the male Seiyuu that impressed me in 2020, I invite you to check episode 21, and for those that impressed me in 2021, you can check episode 76. There are links to both episodes in the description, so check them over if you can. Do know that the entries in this episode are ranked, starting from number 12 up to number 1. Now let's kick off this episode. Number 12. Ryota Suzuki. Ryota Suzuki has been a big surprise on my radar. He has been primarily active as part of Erosion in the Carnelian Blood franchise, and he has been making sure he impresses everyone. As the leader of the 5-vocal rock band, Suzuki has been showing more and more of his abilities to blend in, harmonize, and switch with ease between a supporting or leading vocal position. And as he led the way in Still, solo track part of Erosion's Erosion with You from Carnelian Blood CD series, I wished he got many more opportunities to showcase his abilities. He was also active as part of the Last Metal's Venomous 8, however, the franchise was little to no interested in putting the spotlight over the Seiyuu's vocals, and thus, Suzuki lost a fantastic opportunity to impress, not because of his fault, but the project's fault. Still, in the songs Ryota Suzuki got to perform in 2022, he was impressing me a whole lot. His control is quite impressive for someone with as little experience performing music for 2D groups as him. His charisma on stage is electrifying, and the way he harmonizes with other singers, serving as an anchor in Erosion, is something that makes me wish more people paid attention to him. Number 11. Toshiyuki Toyonaga. Whatever song Toshiyuki Toyonaga sings will for sure impress. And in 2022, the best singer among male Seiyuu was on a roll with outstanding performances. As always, he was incredibly active in 2D music projects, something that is no surprise, as he is the voice actor with the most credits in 2D music projects. Among the various projects he was active is Paradox Live, B Project, Pythagoras Production, Carnelian Blood, Aopella, Dear Vocalist, Tsuki Pro, Hanadol, and Fabulous Night. From rap to pop, R&B, dance music, and emo rock, Toshiyuki Toyonaga performed it all. And better yet, he was not only the lead in some projects, but also a reliable support in others, such as Carnelian Blood. His ability to harmonize with anyone is good ear that enables him to fit right in whichever lineup he is a part of, and his versatility continue to make him an essential piece for every single group he is a part of. To top it all off, Toyonaga was back with solo music of his own with the release of Dot Link, album that was a bit more experimental than previous releases of his. But that's not all. The talented singer-songwriter joined Daisuke Ono, working on the composition of Ono's album Sounds of Love. In 2022, Toyonaga was everywhere you could think of, and honestly, he could be in even more 2D music projects and I'd never get sick of hearing his voice. Number 10. Arthur Lounsbery. Arthur Lounsbery has been rocking the stage with mostly 2D rock music projects. In 2022, he was active with Erosion in the Carnelian Blood franchise, Phantom Iris in the From Argonavis franchise, and Venomous 8 in the Last Metal franchise. It was with Erosion and Phantom Iris that Arthur shone the most. He led the way in One Thing, one of the best albums released in 2022, and easily one of Erosion's best to date. Not only was he a driving force in the title track, but he also went all out for a raw, emotional performance in Determination. This song is on my top best songs released in 2022 because of how powerful it is, from its slow-paced, dirty, distorted rock instrumental, but also by how passionate and spine-chilling Arthur's performance is. It is a thing of beauty. But if you fancy a more theatrical style of rock, Arthur was also active as the frontman for the Visual Kei rock band Phantom Iris. And it was bloody amazing to see and hear his aura and voice tone completely changing between these two bands. For Erosion, Arthur is using his natural voice, however adding a little bit of raspiness to it. For Phantom Iris, he was performing in faux baritone style for the whole time. That lower, more dramatic vocal range, allied with his technique and versatility, had him delivering ridiculously good performances for the band. With Arthur focusing more and more in performing rock music, I wouldn't be surprised if he joined yet another 2D rock music project in 2023 and perhaps even make a solo debut? One can dream. Number 9. Shun Horie. Shun Horie was dazzling everyone in 2022. The talented Seiyuu, owner of a unique raspy tenor voice, led the way for Sparklu's groovy album Neon. He was a force to be reckoned with in Anthos, was active in the Fabulous Night, Visual Prison and the Idolmaster Side M franchises, between many other projects. No matter how much time passes, Shun Horie continues to impress me further. His control, the technique, singing tone, the delicate way he approaches his lines, then to deliver them with immense power. He is a cut above most Seiyuu currently active in 2D music projects, and has been showing he is extremely reliable as part of a Seiyuu unit with Sparklu. Although 2022 was a year in which he saw himself joining more 2D music projects, I'd love for Horie to finally get his chance to shine either on a 2D music project that puts the spotlight on himself or as a solo artist. Regardless, he was shining left and right in 2022, having a well-deserved entrance in these top 12. Number 8. Takuya Sato. A force to be reckoned with on the vocal end, Takuya Sato had the 2022 in style when it came to his work for 2D music projects. The versatile baritone was leading the way with Fame in the Aopella franchise, he was grooving with Trigger in the Idolish 7 franchise, and stealing the show as a member of Rockdown in the Vezrock franchise. In all groups, Takuya Sato showcased new things on the vocal end. In 2022, and it was through Reiji Amaha's solo track Turn Around Again in the Vezrock franchise that Sato first performed in head voice, and it was mind-blowing to hear it coming from such a low baritone. With Fame, he showed everyone that he has the power and technique to lead the way, shining even within a star-studded group. R&B riffing, cannons, harmonies and falsetto were big tools of his for the group's performances. Trigger had a stellar 2022, presenting fans with unique performances that left many people wanting more. From ballads to R&B tunes and even groovy disco funk, the group was performing a little bit of everything, and as such, on the vocal end, there were new things being displayed by all members. Takuya Sato was harmonizing, performing in head voice falsetto, unleashing his powerful vibrato, and harmonizing with two insanely skilled singers. As 2022 wrapped up, Takuya Sato was a name that I easily associated with the year. He was everywhere for me, and delivering impressive performances result of his growth as a singer. Number 7. Gakuto Kajiwara. 2022 was a solid year for Gakuto Kajiwara. The rising star singer-songwriter released 2 CDs, Irochigai no Itotaba and Road Movie, and let me tell you, he impressed me a whole lot. While I was not the biggest fan of him making a solo debut so early in his career, truth is he has been sounding really well since the start of his activities as a solo artist, displaying a consistency and technicality that very few his age have. And I've grown to love his solo career a whole lot, as he has a laid-back semi-acoustic sound that perfectly fits his impressively clean vocals. As he arrived in 2022, he made sure to further improve as a singer and songwriter, creating unique songs, writing interesting lyrics for himself, and delivering, at times, impressive performances that make you want more and more of his music. He was also active in 2D music projects such as Paradox Live, Tokyo Color Sonic and Ensemble Stars, and yes, he did impress me a whole lot with powerful, engaging performances. I've said it before, I'm liking a whole lot to see how much Gakuto Kajiwara is growing as a singer, and as a solo artist he has been showing a maturity that very few Seiyuu artists have. I'm pumped up to see and hear what he has in store for us all in 2023. Number 6. Yuma Uchida. 2022 was a simple yet solid year for Yuma Uchida. As a solo artist, Uchida released 2 singles, Good Mood and Congrats, and held a live tour right by the end of the year to wrap up his solo activities in style. For 2D music projects, Uchida was active with Impish Crow in the Dig Rock franchise, Dramatic Stars in the Idolmaster Side M franchise, Eden in the Ensemble Stars franchise, and joined the Aopella franchise as part of Vedlip. Rock, pop, jazz, dance, and a cappella. Yuma Uchida did it all in 2022, delivering impressive performances that showcase both his vocal range and technicality. And it didn't sound the same between projects, something that I value a whole lot. Looking forward to see what he will do in 2023. Hopefully he will release his 3rd full-length album and dazzle everyone with his a cappella skills with Vedlip. Kentito. I'll admit it, when 2022 kicked off, Kentito was not a name I expected to add to this list given how he is participating in very few 2D music projects and Yuma was in a weird hiatus. But hey, the best solo debut of 2022 belongs to Kentito, and he dazzled everyone with the stylish and mature city pop sound in Mayonaka no Love. This song was on repeat for me as soon as I listened to it. It was not what I envisioned for Ito given his track record of performing solo ballads for Yuma, but it was a pleasant, addictive entry that ended up shining in 2022. While it was just a digital single, Mayonaka no Love was more than enough to grab my attention and highly anticipate Kentito's next CD release. On the 2D music side, Kentito was active with Matenro in the Hypnosis Mic franchise, Sam in the Idolmaster Side M franchise, Venomous 8 in the Last Metal franchise, and Anthos in the Hana Doll franchise. For me, his most impressive performances arrived with Anthos, group that not only he sort of leads on the vocal end, but also a group that enables him to showcase his vocal range, to bring out those beautiful flourishes, that stunning vibrato, and smooth head voice and falsetto. It was in performances like Tell, and especially in Mirage, that my jaw dropped. It was ridiculous just how technical Kentito is, while bringing a lot of emotion to his performances. Adding to his solo work and 2D music project participations is his work as a songwriter for other artists and projects. In 2022, Kentito was quite active composing songs for 2D music projects, something that is quite impressive. 2023 will be a strong year for him with the release of his first EP. I'm quite excited about it, so let's see where Kentito will stand on next year's episode about the 12 male Seiyuu that impressed me the most in 2023. Number 4. Shunichi Toki. Shunichi Toki was more impressive than usual in 2022. The talented Seiyuu and solo artist tackled the challenge of releasing his first full-length album, Good For, and left quite the awesome impression in me by releasing what I consider a top 3 best album released in 2022. He managed to nail the vibes from the 80s and the 90s in the album. There were amazing new arrangements for songs that in the past had been lackluster. There were new, awesome tunes that were genuinely impressive on the composition, but also performance sides. And Shunichi Toki, with his sweet tenor voice, managed to deliver outstanding performances that left me wanting much more from him as a solo artist. I feel like Good For is Toki's best album to date, a fantastic example of the technical singer he is, but also, without forgetting, that he is really experienced as a singer and can basically do it all on the vocal end. When it came to 2D music projects, although he is active in a couple of them, that go from the Idolmaster Side M to Paradox Live, Hanadol, Tsuki Pro and Technoroid, he was the most impressive in Hanadol as one of the main vocals in Anthos. What he pulls off in that group is absolutely amazing. The harmonies, the canons, the ad-libs in R&B style, the riffing, the playing around with his range from low to higher. His performances with Anthos are always a cut above the others he does for 2D music projects. And even if the Hanadol franchise is not that popular and Anthos is equally as niche, both are well worth diving for the sheer quality on the vocal end. 2022 was a strong year for Shunichi Toki, and I'm quite honestly curious to see and hear what he will pull off in 2023. Number 3. Makoto Furukawa. Deeply underappreciated despite how active he was in 2D music projects and even as a solo artist, Makoto Furukawa is, for me, one of the 12 male seiyuu that impressed in 2022. Owner of one of the most powerful and complete vibratos among male seiyuu artists, with a unique charm and allure always present in his performances, and with a stylish sound as a solo artist, Furukawa impressed me a whole lot, and by the end of 2022, he was making me wish he had released a full-length album to perfectly wrap up the year's activities. Still, the talented acid jazz artist released 2 singles, Ware Bara ni Isu and Ibara Rinbukyoku, bringing stylish, refined and deeply emotional songs to the spotlight. Furukawa wrote lyrics to some of the songs, and those were, in my opinion, the ones that impressed me the most and felt the most like a Furukawa song. Only Night Crown is easily one of my favorite songs that Furukawa has written lyrics to so far. For 2D music projects, Makoto Furukawa was active with Ruby Leopard in the Dig Rock franchise, Cafe Parade in the Idolmaster Side M franchise, Goku Luck in the Paradox Live franchise, Oz in the Visual Prison franchise, Soara in the Tsuki Pro franchise, Standalone in the Technoroid franchise, and Twilight in the Fabulous Night franchise, between many more projects. He was performing from rock to pop, hip-hop, R&B, ballads, EDM, visual K-rock and pop rock. Furukawa was doing a little bit of everything from being a lead to a supporting voice for the groups he is a part of. And in all of these groups he showcased his versatility as a singer, now showing much more of his vocal range on the lower and higher frequencies, as well as his control performing in extremely dramatic singing styles, like he does for Oz in the Visual Prison franchise. And he was rapping for the very first time, with a flow and intensity that I was not expecting at all coming from him. As 2022 wrapped up, Makoto Furukawa was undoubtedly a name that should be mentioned as a highlight. Number 2. Jin Ogasawara. The biggest surprise of the year for me was Jin Ogasawara. The talented seiyuu and solo artist embarked on a special digital single series that had him playing around with his vocal range and impressing everyone while at it, at the same time that he explored new music genres and mixes that may end up shaping his sound as a solo artist going forward. I was quite impressed with what he showed on the vocal end. I was under the wrong impression that Ogasawara was a sort of a one-dimensional singer, which is to say, can only sing in one specific style and with a specific tone, but he proved me wrong, delivering an outstanding set of performances that made me instantly purchase all his digital singles, part of last year's collection. He was performing in falsetto, head voice, he was doing R&B riffing, he was rapping and performing clean singing. He tried whisper style and in all of those he was sounding bloody amazing. I love the fact that Ogasawara, with nothing to lose, decided to experiment both with his sound but also with his singing skills. He's still a long way from becoming a top singer among male seiyuu, but if the talent he showed in this digital singles collection is anything to go by, it won't be long before he starts to be in that conversation. And of course, it is quite exciting that he is growing this much and this fast in front of our eyes. I'm quite excited to see what's in store for him in 2023. As far as 2D music projects go, Ogasawara was mostly active with Gambit in the Gam-Doll franchise and Gyroaxia in the From Argonavis franchise. He also joined the Visual Kei meets Neo Sengoku franchise, Magatsu Note. When it comes to impressive performances, Ogasawara absolutely threw it out of the park as the frontman for Gyroaxia, now a rock band signed to a major music label. Their mini-album Freestyle is their best to date, including songs that not only nod at past releases, but also showcase the influences and versatility that the band has. It is with Gyroaxia that he has also been impressing me a whole lot because of how he does the screamo parts in the recordings. He is showing good technique in there, although on a live setting at times he still struggles a little bit to have the proper technique to avoid injuring his vocal cords. Still, Ogasawara is a promising talent, and if 2022 is anything to go by, he will be impressing everyone both as a solo artist as well as part of the bloody amazing rock band Gyroaxia. Number 1. Soma Saito. In what was an absolutely flawless year, Soma Saito was not only ridiculously active in several 2D music projects, but also released 2 EPs with intricate concepts and even made time to write lyrics and compose songs to other seiyuu artists. Saito is just like Toshiyuki Toyonaga in way too many 2D music projects. From Tsuki Pro to Idolish 7, Tokyo Color Sonic, Ensemble Stars, Hypnosis Mic, Honeyworks and many more, Saito made sure to showcase just how versatile as a singer he truly is. He tackled songs in the most varied music genres from rap to R&B, ballads, funk, disco, rock, EDM, pop and many others. He performed songs with his natural high vocal range, he is a tenor, but also as a faux baritone. He was there singing in whisper style, raw and rough at times, sweet and clean at others. He shifted between vocal ranges within the same songs and kept on delivering quality performance after quality performance. As a songwriter, Soma Saito wrote lyrics for Wataru Hatanu's No Man is an Island, song in Hatanu's album Taurus, and composed Lonely Darling, song in Takuya Guchi's mini-album Egurand. He is slowly working with other seiyuu artists, which is quite exciting given the quality that he usually brings for his lyrics and compositions. But what impressed me the most in 2022 were the 2 EPs he released. My Beautiful Valentine is easily the best album released in 2022. And Yin Yang is not only one of the most experimental in Soma Saito's repertoire, but it's also one of the most emotional albums. Saito managed to give life to one of the most abstract concepts you could think of in My Beautiful Valentine, and then for Yin Yang, created a consistent collection of songs that ended up giving life to a spine-chilling story that has you, the listener, yet again in the front seat. When it came to the performances, it is safe to say that Soma Saito has established himself as a falsetto and head voice style of singer, making a fantastic use of his versatile tenor range. He also has embraced whisper style of singing, something that, paired up with his falsetto and head voice, make him a really tough singer to even dare copy on karaoke. The technicality and emotion in his performances, the wonderful, vivid stories he writes, plus the rich, storytelling-driven instrumentals he composes, made him shine in 2022 and, in my opinion, make him the artist of 2022. As you can tell, these were just 12 of the male Seiyuu that impressed me in 2022. All of them showcased growth in the past year, bringing new things to the table and being quite unique in the 2D music projects they were a part of. I believe that if the list was longer, there were many more Seiyuu I'd add in here. For sure I'd add Yoshiki Nakajima and Shuya Chiba, for example, but as it is, I think these 12 were not only the best at what they did in 2022, but also the most exciting while being extremely active. For me, of course, what matters is the quality of the performances and whether or not you notice growth in comparison to previous releases or performances of theirs. And these 12 really sealed the deal for me. But enough about my opinions. Tell me, which male Seiyuu impressed you the most in 2022 and why? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, and remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of Seiyuu Lounge. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the Hand That Feeds HQ's weekly male Seiyuu and music related content. I'll return next week with another episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.